Just a reminder, please silence your cell phones. We would greatly appreciate that. If you would please rise and join me in standing for the presentation of colors from the Triad JROTC with students from Lawrenceburg High School, John Oscar High School, and your very own Vermont High School. The playing of our national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance by Student Council President Ivy Elwell. You may be seated. In just a moment, the Triad JROTC will be conducting the flag folding and the traditional POW table. They just need a moment to take their harnesses off and change. So if you will be patient for just a moment.
Traditionally a symbol of liberty, the American flag has carried the message of freedom and inspired Americans both at home and abroad. In 1814, Francis Scott Key was so moved and seeing the Stars and Stripes leaving after the British settlement in Baltimore's former enemy that he wrote the words for the Star Spangled Banner. In 1892, the flag inspired Francis Bellingham to write the Pledge of Allegiance, our most famous flag salute and free shot photo. In July 1969, the American flag was phased by Neil Armstrong and the National Service Administration. Today, our flag flies in the constellation of Air Force satellites that circle our globe and the thin flash of America and on its way in every corner of the world. And he also flies in the heart of every military service member who serves this great nation. The sun never sets on our flag that we so proudly cherish. Since 1776, no generation of Americans has been spared the responsibility of defending freedom. Today's airmen remain committed to preserving the freedom that others won't for generations to come. By displaying the flag and giving it a distinctive hold, we show respect to the flag and express our gratitude to those individuals who fought and continue to fight for freedom at home and abroad. Since the dawn of the 20th century, military service members have proudly flown the flag and carried it on land and sky. Around the world, it is their responsibility, our responsibility, to continue to protect and preserve the rights of those born for us. The United States flag represents who we are. It stands for the freedom that we all share and the pride and patriotism that we feel for our country. We cherish its legacy as a beacon of hope to one and all on the way.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to table 1 4. You may have noticed that the table set before you is filled with symbolism. I will explain. This table is set for our prisoners of war and those missing in action from all wars. They are not with us today. Their chairs are empty, but safe for the public return. Let us remember their absence. Let us remember the men and women prisoners of war from all branches of service that too often forgotten. Let us remember. Tablecloth is white, symbolizing purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms, so that their children can remain free. Remember. The lone candle symbolizes the frailty of a prisoner alone, trying to stand up against his oppressors. Remember. The black ribbon on the candle reminds us of those who will not be coming home. Remember. A single rose reminds us of the loved ones and families of our comrades in arms who keep the faith and await their return. Remember. The red, white, and blue ribbon is tied to the flower raised by a yellow ribbon that was worn by thousands who awaited their return. Remember. The slice of women is on the third page. Remind us of the bitter fate if we do not bring them home. Remember. There is salt on the plate, symbolic of the family's spirits as they wait and remember. the last is the burden. They cannot toast with us tonight, maybe tomorrow, if we remember. The faded picture on the table is a reminder that they are missed very much and are remembered by their families. Remember. The Holy Bible represents faith in a higher power, a pledge to our country founded as one nation under God. Remember. The chair depicts an unknown face, representing no specific soldier, sailor, airman, or marine. But all who are not here with us, remember. As we look upon this empty table, do not remember ghosts from the past. Remember our comrades. Remember those who we depended on the battle, they depended on us to bring them home. Remember our friends. They are the ones we love life and freedom as we do. If we remember what we do, please honor and remember them. As our tribe band JRTC led extinguishes his candle, let us transfer his flame to our hearts.
Thank you, Triad ARTC. My name is Carrie Hummel, and I am the student council advisor and also social studies teacher here at Lamont. And I had started planning this assembly back in August, and today we come to you to recognize the men and women of not only our community, but of our country. Veterans Day was originally called Armistice Day and began on an occasion to reflect upon the heroism of those who died in our country's service. It does fall on November 11th. Today we are celebrating it on November 8th. November 11th is the anniversary of the signing of the armistice that ended World War I on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. In 1954, the name of the holiday was changed to Armistice Day. From Armistice Day to Veterans Day in order to recognize veterans of all wars. Students, staff, veterans, community members, and all others at this time, if you have an individual in your life that is a veteran, would you please stand? This includes you, elementary and high school. If you have a veteran in your life, would you please stand? Look around. As you can see, we are all impacted by these great men and women who serve our country. You may be seated. This year, I challenge our students and staff to not only create an assembly of honor for our veterans, but a lesson for our students to always remember these important men and women in our lives. You are going to see performances from students in pre-K through 12th grade. You're going to see special music performances and the creativity of our elementary and high school drama students. I hope you all are excited and ready. Our honorary speaker today is Mr. Raymond Joe Sosa. Raymond graduated from Lamont High School in 1995. You can come on up, Raymond. During his tenure here at Lamont, he was involved in soccer, speech, and baseball. After high school, he joined the United States Marines and ended his military career with the rank of corporal. Raymond encourages and embraces continuing education, and he holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in Occupational Safety and Health from Columbia Southern University, as well as a Master's of Business Administration degree. Raymond has achieved his loss prevention certification and certified forensic interviewer designations. He is on the National Leadership Scheme for the Brave, or the Boldly Representing American Veterans Everywhere Colleague Resource Group, serves on the Advisory Council for the Loss Prevention Foundation, and is a member of the National Association of Drug Diversion Investigators and International Association of Interviewers Raymond is currently and blessed to be residing in Missouri. Raymond has 3 wonderful kiddos, Raymond Joe, Sadie, and Cameron, and they enjoy time together in the outdoors, capitalizing on hunting, fishing, and camping. Raymond's motto is work hard, play hard, pray hard, but lead with heart. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in giving a Viking welcome back home to Mr. Raymond Sosa.
All right, good morning, Lamont Vikings. Good morning, students. Good morning, teachers, administrators, and staff. Good morning, our fellow neighbors. And absolutely good morning to you veterans here this morning. Hey, before we get started, I want to recognize and acknowledge and say thank you to Mr. Weisenhalter. I told him I was going to mess his name up. My apologies, certainly to Mr. Thomas and Mrs. Hummel for the opportunity to be able to speak with you here today. And I'm going to ask for 2 favors. The first is I want to recognize this amazing junior ROTC team. I had the privilege of seeing them last year in a competition in Non-Oster. They're absolutely outstanding. I'm a bit biased to the junior ROTC. My daughter is a battalion commander in the Boonville VTech junior ROTC as a junior, and very proud of what they do in honoring our military. Number 2 is I'm going to need some help in here. In the United States Marine Corps, we utilize a battle cry that we call hoorah. All right, and we use this hoorah to help encourage each other and motivate each other, and as a sign of recognition or acknowledgement, right? So I need you to help me stay motivated. And I'm going to try to keep you awake through the process of hoorah. So on the count of 3, I'm going to ask all my friends, all my neighbors, and all my veterans to help me with the big hoorah. On 3, 1, 2, and 3. Hoorah! Oh, I love it. Here it is. And teachers, bear with me. I remember being this age. I remember having to sit back and listen to some old dude speak for the next 20 minutes. And how boring it got. So look, at the point you get bored, at the point you want to talk to your neighbor, at the point you feel like you've got to get some interaction, I want to encourage all my friends to give me a loud hoorah. Now, the only request here is let me finish my sentence. Let me finish my thought or statement, and you give me a big hoorah. Hoorah? Hey, here's what we're really at. Before we get started, I think we got to pause and ask ourselves, of all the people in this community, all these outstanding veterans, all the active duty military we have here, and the families we have in this community, how did we land on this dude? Right? Because many of your parents may remember this dude, as I look at Jacob Martin and his family. Many people may remember this dude, Raymond Sosa. And how did we land on him? And there really were 3 thoughts of mine when I come to mind as to how I got selected. So hey, with the big hoorah, help me understand what you think. Maybe the first reason I got invited today is because I'm a United States Marine. Hoorah! Yeah, I served from 95 to 99. Absolutely loved it. And somebody might say, hey, Raymond, if you served from 95 to 99, why did you get out? Right? See, my intentions the whole time to be able to go back in as an officer. In order to do that, you had to have a college degree. So I got out of the Marine Corps. By the time I finished my undergrad, by the time I finished my master's degree, I had a spouse, I had some kiddos, I started making a couple bucks, and then it was just not in my cards to stay in the United States Marine Corps. Maybe the second thought that I got chosen to come in and speak today was because I am a Lamont High School alumnus, right? Yes, I came here in 1st grade, I graduated my senior year through Lamont High School. And you see the photos here, I know it's kind of hard to see. But in the top right of the screen there, 2 of my best friends, a couple of my friends, as we walk down the graduation aisle, Corey Harrison and Christy Johnson. The bottom picture you see there, a couple of buddies that I met in 1st grade, and they're still buddies here today. And those people are BJ Brashear, Jeremiah Lentz, Dustin Mahan, Robert Bishop. These folks are still very active and productive in your community today, and certainly blessed to be part of the Viking. But I think what's interesting is to draw your attention to that middle photo. So for those of you that can't see it, this is actually from our high school yearbook. And if you can't read the caption in the yearbook, it says, "What is a Sosa?" Do you know what kind of personality it took to be able to get a dedicated image in the yearbook says what is a Sosa? So it's not a moment. Hoorah! Hey, so the third possible reason that I got invited here today is that Mrs. Pummel and I used to be friends back in the day. All right, if you can see that picture on the screen. That picture as well came from the high school yearbook. Yes, came from the high school yearbook. That is Mrs. Pummel and I enjoying a dance at the high school dance. It was an absolutely great time. Now, folks, for understanding and for clarity, I know who Mr. Pummel is. I know he's a big dude, and he's a strong dude. So, for transparency, Mrs. Pummel and I have never been anything more than just really good friends. All right, Ron. All right, very good. Well, hey, we're actually coming here together this morning to recognize our veterans, to honor our veterans, and I absolutely want to say thank you to all of our active duty military, all our United States military, all our United States military veterans. We absolutely salute you, we appreciate you, we honor you. As Mrs. Pummel said, we recognize Veterans Day on November 11th. Anybody in here know what we recognize on November 10th? Hoorah! Yeah, so if you didn't hear him say that, he said, hey, it's my youngest daughter's birthday on November 10th. But it's also the Marine Corps' birthday on November 10th. So all my Marine Corps brothers and sisters out here, happy birthday, we appreciate you. All right, so hey, in the time we're going to spend here together, I'm really going to focus on three quick things. I promise you I try to keep it quick so I don't put you to sleep. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give a little bit of background about Raymond Sosa and a little bit about myself. Number two is I want you to understand why I respect the United States military and why I honor our veterans. And then the last thing is I want us to be able to walk out with an opportunity to understand how we might be able to honor our veterans out in society today. So normally what we do at this point is I would come in and I would walk through my credentials, why I have or deserve the right to be able to speak with you today. And I would talk to you about some of the things that Mrs. Pummel already talked about. You know, graduated cum laude from undergrad, right? Working for Fortune 100 companies, training multiple professionals as to how to do behavioral analysis interviews across the United States. Corporations that I supported, multi-million-dollar savings that I created for these organizations. But it's not that type of meeting today. See, the interesting part is that after those presentations, when I'm at conferences and I'm giving presentations, it's always after that I get some one-on-one time with other professionals. A lot of times, younger professionals that are coming in and wanting to sit down and chat with me. Sometimes it's over dinner, sometimes it's over appetite. But they're always wanting to have a conversation. And one of the things I have to hear all the time is, Raymond, you don't understand how difficult it is for me to try to get where you were at. See, Raymond, you don't understand where I came from. Raymond, you don't understand the hurdles that were in my life. You don't understand the blocks that were in my way. You don't understand the culture I was raised in. You don't understand anything about what it takes to come from where I was to try to climb to where I want to be. In short, what they ultimately say is, Raymond, you were born with a silver spoon in your mouth and you just wouldn't understand. And to that, I don't respond. But you know, I feel it in my heart today that I'm back at home in Lamont, Missouri, and I'm going to get a little bit raw with you all. If that's okay. You raw? So the photo you see up on the screen today is my yearbook photo. This photo right here is my senior year yearbook. You can see some of the events and activities that I participated in. But what you can't see in that photo is the fact of the matter is that young boy shouldn't have graduated high school. See, he just shouldn't have graduated high school. See, what many of you all may not know is though I was born in Sedalia, Missouri, my dad too was a former Marine, right? His family migrated from Mexico, so we're Mexican Americans. And my parents divorced when I was in kindergarten. And when they divorced, my mom packed things up and moved back to Lamont. And so in first grade when I was in Lamont, I met some of the best friends that have lasted a lifetime. And I absolutely loved Lamont. See, I couldn't control a couple of factors in my life. I couldn't control the fact that we were poor. I couldn't control the fact that we were raised in trailers. I couldn't control the fact that my mom worked extremely hard. those still couldn't make it on their own, and so we relied on government assistance. But what I could control is my own behaviors. I can control my own being. And unfortunately, I did a poor job at that. See, the fact of the matter is, I was a troublemaker. See, I lacked discipline. I lacked authority. I lacked somebody telling me what it is I'm supposed to be doing and disciplining me when in fact I needed it to happen. So because of that, I created trouble throughout the process. See, when you're young causing trouble, you start on this reputation, is what we call it when we're your age. It's all about reputation. In my world, we call it a brand. And you start building your brand. Whether we like it or not, every one of us are building a brand. And that brand is either good or that brand is bad. And see, I caused this trouble. Now, in elementary, it didn't seem like a big deal, right? Because some of this was I'm ignoring the teacher. That teacher, Miss Buffington, sends me to the office, and Miss Heimsaw lines up this wooden paddle and lines it up on your backside. And so you can start seeing how to pay attention. Right? And I found myself in additional trouble. I'm not going to exhaust you with that today. But I'll tell you that trouble followed me into middle school. So I go into middle school and I start causing trouble. And mothers started to figure this out. Fathers started to figure this out. And they realized that if my son, if my daughter starts to hang out with that punk Brandon Sosa, that you two are going to be in trouble. That these children are going to be in trouble. See, the boys still wanted to hang out with me. The girls still wanted to hang out with me. But we were going to find trouble. Right? This trouble ended up increasing to the fact that I found the juvenile system. And I found myself in the juvenile system. So much to the fact that I was put in a boys' home when I was in Columbia, Missouri. I was put in a boys' home down in Expo, Missouri. I was put in a boys' home down in Clinton, Missouri. I was put in a boys' home in St. Joseph, Missouri. You ask yourself, why is he here today? See, the reality of it, folks, is I lacked structure. I lacked, and I lacked. It wasn't until I was in St. Joseph that my dad petitioned the state and said that that boy lacks discipline, that boy needs authority. It was at that time that he petitioned the state and said that that mother is not prepared to turn that boy into a man. And he begged that the state hand me over to them. So what ended up happening is they didn't want to get me on the court. So what happened? They put me on probation. And by putting me on probation, they kicked me out of the state of Missouri. And with no other options, I went to live with my dad. Now, it was a week later that my mom used to letter in the mail, and the letter ultimately said this: your boy's a troublemaker. He's been kicked out of Missouri. But because we kicked him out of Missouri, we can no longer keep him on probation. And because we no longer keep him on probation, he's no longer kicked out of Missouri. So, Mama, I'm coming home. And I came back home, and I got back into the same trouble I was already in. You know, the fact of the matter is I caused so much trouble for my mother that I made a decision to stop creating this trouble inside of her home. So I moved out. Because at that time I looked around and I said, what were my options? Though I knew I had family that still loved me, I looked in the community and there's two women that come to mind that could look past all the trouble that I had created for myself and said that there's something there in this boy. One of those women is a woman by the name of Laura Hudson. I hung out with her daughters, and she was a wonderful woman. She treated me as one of her own. The other woman that recognized that there might be something there in Randy Sosa is a woman by the name of Diana Dillon. Folks, I was destined for trouble. What you may not know about Diana is that she was a single mother as well, and was already raising two boys on her own. But she absolutely believed that if I was given the right level of structure, the right level of direction, the right level of love, then I could go out and make something of myself. And bless this woman's heart, and I'm forever indebted to a member of our community here in Missouri. She saved my life. Now, I still got in trouble. I'm not going to kid you. I still got in trouble. But I finally came to a point where I realized that I could get through high school. And I was able to get through high school by finding a job. And I worked tough jobs. I worked tough jobs catching chickens with Tyson in the middle of the night. right? And there was a lot of immigrants as well. And I'm in there, and you barely breathe. It's 100+ degrees, and you're catching these chickens and waking up in the morning and still having to go to school. And then I was blessed with the opportunity to go work at Creek Carrier Corporation, where I worked at from 9 at night to 2 or 3 in the morning and still coming to school. And it was at that point that I told myself that I need to do something with my life. See, I was still going to high school parties, and there were people that graduated 3 and 4 years before me that were still coming to those high school parties. And I said, this has got to come to an end. And so I made a decision. I wanted to go to the United States Marine Corps. It was at that point I wanted to go to the United States Marine Corps, but I've been in a lot of trouble. And so what had happened was I went to the recruiting station. And I talked to a gentleman by the name of Sergeant Adams. And I said, Sergeant Adams, I want to be in the United States Marine Corps. And Sergeant Adams, he had to hit a quote, and he said, absolutely outstanding, let's go. We got to figure out a couple things real quickly, though. Because I need to make sure, from an education perspective, your grades are good. Check. I need to make sure that your ABAS scores are good. Check. I need to make sure your physical fitness is good. Check. I need to make sure that your leadership is intact to be a United States Marine. And I said, check. But I told him, I said, Sergeant Adams, I got one small problem. He said, what's that? I said, Sergeant Adams, I'm a troublemaker. Sergeant Adams, I have caused trouble my whole life. Sergeant Adams, I've been in the juvenile system. I've been taken from my mom's house. I've been put on probation. And Sergeant Adams says, we got to find out how much trouble you've been in. We got to find out exactly what trouble you've been in. And we got to process you some waivers. We got to figure out if we're going to be able to get you in the United States Marine Corps. So Sergeant Adams and I loaded up, and we moved to the local juvenile office. And I walked in that local juvenile office and let it be known that you only walk in there if you're in trouble, if you're on probation, and if you're checking in. But I walked in that juvenile office, and I see this gentleman. I'm not going to share his name because I don't ever want anybody to look down on him. But I remember walking in, and the first question he said was, Raymond, what are you doing in my office? And he looked at Sergeant Adams. And I said, sir, this is Sergeant Adams. He can't speak on my behalf because I'm not a United States Marine. He can't speak on my behalf, but he's here to find out what kind of trouble I was in. To identify whether or not I could receive waivers. And he said, waivers for what? And I said, sir, I want to be a United States Marine. He needs to be able to see what trouble I have been in. He says, Raymond, stand by. So we walked back in his office, and I couldn't see this gentleman. I couldn't see it, but I pictured it in my mind as I sat down. I pictured this is going to be a 30-minute process. And I watched it, and I could think in my mind how he walked into his office, and he loaded and started picking up files and folders out of multiple filing cabinets and started making stacks on his desk the amount of trouble that I'd been in. And I could picture him grabbing a cart and loading all these folders up on so he could wheel it out and show Sergeant Adams the amount of trouble I'd been in. But my friends, he came out with a single file. One single folder. And he says, Raymond, the only thing I've seen in your past is some curfew violations. He said, Raymond, put your past behind you. You go into the Marine Corps and you make your future. And it was at that time that I finally made that decision that I realized there were 3 people that changed the path of my life. Number 1 was my mother. She was extremely hard working. She told me how to work hard, and I learned that if you work for it, you'll get it. Nothing is owed to you. You go out there, you fight for it, and you get it. Number 2, Diana Dillon. Saved my life, gave me the love, the direction that I needed in high school. And number 3, this gentleman in the juvenile office allowed me to go into the Marine Corps. And folks, that's when I found myself in the United States Marine Corps. I absolutely love the Marine Corps. I became a Marine. I learned discipline. I learned accountability, the importance behind responsibility. And I started to learn what it was to be a man. But you know what's interesting? I wasn't a man. You know, at that time when I'm brand new in the Marine Corps, and I finally got to even below an acre, I realized I wasn't a man. See, at that point in my life, I thought man was about being able to talk the way you want to talk. That you have a level of strength, that you go out there and fight if you have to fight. That you can go out there and you can drink things that only men can drink. That you can say things that only men can say. And that makes you a man. But it couldn't be further from the truth. Could not be shorter. Shouldn't be further than the absolute truth. See, the fact of the matter is becoming a man means you start giving and stop taking. To be a man, you start obeying, not disobeying. You start respecting, not disrespecting. You start giving and protecting and providing. And that's when you become a man. And I'm so grateful for the Marine Corps to help me build into that position, that situation that I needed to be in. But folks, it wasn't until a couple of years later, when I finally had a relationship with my Creator, that I started to grow. When I had my first son, and I found myself in a situation, telling myself that there will not be another man raising this boy. That I will have the responsibility of turning this boy into a young man. And a responsibility of turning this young man into a man. And for that, I'm absolutely grateful and appreciative of the United States Marine Corps. I appreciate you listening to my story, but that's the reason why I stand up here today and I absolutely respect our United States military. And I absolutely honor our active duty military and our veterans of the United States. It's for these reasons. I'm going to give you a few of them. Reason number one is it saved my life. I can stand up here with you today because without the Marine Corps, I wouldn't be having this conversation today. I wouldn't find my value in the community. I wouldn't be able to identify ways in which I'm able to serve and give back. And for that, I'm grateful. The Marine Corps saved my life. Number two is it protects. Military protects our inalienable rights. Right? So the fact of the matter is, we all know that July 4th, 1976, we had won this war against the British, and we signed into effect the Declaration of Independence. And the Declaration of Independence tells us all men are created equal, empowered by our Creator, with certain unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And it's because of our military today that we're able to defend those rights, and we continue to have those rights. I'm grateful for our military today and our veterans today for the freedoms in which we have. Freedoms in which it costs blood shed overseas in different wars to give us the freedoms that we have today. I'm grateful for the sacrifices that our active duty and our veterans have made. It's very possible that we are going to have, there are some boys and girls in here today, young ladies and young men in here today, parents in here today, that are going to be spending Thanksgiving and spending Christmas Day without their loved ones overseas that are continuing to fight for our freedoms and the sacrifices that they make for us in this great nation that we call America. And it's because of the protection and the security of this great nation that I absolutely respect our United States military and honor our veterans. Folks, I would like to give you a couple of thoughts. There's some of you here today, as I look at some of our other classes, there's some of you that may feel the calling to go into the United States Marine Corps, to go into the Army, the Air Force, the National Guard, the Reserve, or any other branch of service. And I would encourage you to hear that calling and take that call. But for the rest of us that may not feel that's in our cards, I would encourage you to identify how can you honor and serve our veterans? I want to give you a couple of ideas here really quickly, if I could. Number one, make an effort. Make an effort to identify the military folks in your community. Identify who the veterans are in your community. Ask your grandparents, ask your parents, ask your neighbor, and identify who these folks are. Number two, introduce yourself and thank them. All right, now when I say thank them, gentlemen, you go up, you shake their hand, you look them in the eyes, you give them a firm handshake, and you say thank you. Invite them to a meal. We've got Thanksgiving coming up. Thanksgiving coming up. And I would encourage you to identify who those veterans are and invite them over to your Thanksgiving dinner. Maybe you see them in a restaurant and they're wearing the veterans hat, or maybe the military pin. And that'd be a great opportunity to go over and pay for somebody's meal. Is another way that we could be thanking them. Exercise your freedoms. We talked a minute ago that we have military personnel overseas, that many before them have shed blood for our freedom. It is our honor and our duty to to go out and fight for our rights of religion, our rights of freedom of speech, of voting, rights to bear arms. These things were not just simply given, they were won for. And they're absolute freedom that we should fight for. And then I'm going to encourage you to find a campaign that supports veterans in which you can get involved with. One of the campaigns you see up on the screen there is our 22 push-up challenge. On average per day, there's an average of 22 military veterans that commit suicide. Look, I don't want to get into slicing hairs. Some people say it's a little bit less than that. Some people say it's twice that amount. I'm not going to slice hairs. But what we need to do is we need to recognize that it's an opportunity in society today. We got to recognize that people went overseas and have absolutely battled it out, trying to come back into the world here, trying to transition and they're struggling. We need to make sure we keep these folks in our prayers. We need to make sure we're keeping them in mind. And we need to let them know that they are not forgotten about. So I would absolutely challenge everybody in here today that from today through the end of the month, that we accept the 22 push-up challenge. That we get down on our face and we do 22 push-ups per day through the remainder of this month in honor and respect of our United States military, active duty, and our veterans. So here's what I'm going to do. I feel like sweating a little bit. I feel like sweating a little bit. I'm going to ask some of our upperclassmen. So if you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior, if you feel the call to come join me down here, I'd like you to join me in the 22 push-up challenge. Can I get you, Rob? All right, let's head to the middle of the floor, back here in the back, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, 22 push-up challenge. It looks like I'm going to be doing it by myself. Don't leave me by myself. Don't leave me do it by myself. All right, 7th graders, 8th graders. Let's get over there. My high school young men don't want to do it. Meet me right back here in the back. Ms. Hummel, I apologize. I'm running over a couple of minutes. 7th grade, 8th grade, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, seniors, both male and females. Out of respect and honor to our military veterans, meet me down for 22 push-ups. Folks, as I start making my way down, I want to close by thanking you veterans. I want to close by telling you that we do not have the America we have today if it wasn't for the sacrifices that you make for this great nation and everything that you keep doing for this great nation, for our active duty military that continue to do it for us on a daily basis. We absolutely salute you, respect you, we honor you, and I thank you. God bless the Vikings, God bless Missouri, God bless our military, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you to Mr. Sosa for that speech and for your service to our country. And just like Mr. Sosa made a choice his senior year, we have a senior young man as well that is considering a military career. Would Gage Green please stand?
That's me, everybody.
Gage is the son He has decided after high school that he is interested in joining the United States Navy and is looking forward to his military career. Gage, thank you for your dedication to our country. And elementary, you guys are being so awesome. Awesome job. And at this time, if you would draw your attention to our Lamont Elementary students, they will be performing Thank You Soldiers under the direction of Miss Gabby Moore. Great job, elementary. At this time, we will now salute you, our veterans. Please help me in welcoming FFA members Ivy Elwell, Addison Churchill, Chloe Burr, and Alyssa Blakely. Veterans, when your name is called, please stand for a recognition with the Lamont High School Power Clap, which is 2 claps. So Lamont students, when they read a name, they will read the name and then we will clap twice. How many times? Okay, I'm gonna test you. Let's practice. If we say Mr. Viking, Marine Corps, perfect. All right, thank you.
Raymond Sosa,
elementary students, they will be performing the Armed Forces Medley under the direction of Miss Gabby Moore. Veterans, when you hear your gracious song, please stand for the duration of your song and then be seated. Our high school choir is also joining us.
Army. Marine. Navy. Air Force. Coast Guard.
Absolutely amazing job, choir and 23 students. Great job. We're just getting started too. At this time, senior vocalist Heidi Owell and junior guitar player Sophia Barton will now perform the rendition of Hallelujah, Veterans version, under the direction of Gabby Moore.
packed your bags and shut the door. You crossed the sea to my door. You didn't know just what would happen to you. Stepped in the dirt, was on the ground, and got my was the only sound. And to yourself you whispered, Hallelujah, 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 Hallelujah. Every day and every night, you walk the walk, you fight the fight. You never told the end inside, now did you? The days of wash, the days of red, the blood of blood, too many dead. Your pure soul was crying, Hallelujah, 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 Too late to help you hear it shut. You know you're in a deadly spot. You never fall and stay with calm, now did ya? Your brother falls down to the ground. He can't leave, all around. And from you scream, Hallelujah, 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 Hallelujah. You fought the fight till it was done. You have the strength to carry on. You thought it'd be much better back home, did ya? You tried each day, keep pushing through, but the battle lives inside of you. It's a cold and it's a broken Hallelujah,
Great job, Ivy and Sophia. The Lamont Elementary Drama Club now will be performing, or getting ready to perform, What is Veterans Day, under the direction of Mrs. Emily Spencer, and this is called Snow. and they have just a few moments to set up.
This elementary drama club is made up of 4th and 5th graders who have made the decision not to do band. This year, they needed something to do, so here we are.
It is early November and students are excited because it's on the first month of the year that month. The song has some big news to discuss about the upcoming Veterans Day celebration, so let's call attention to the class and begin. Good morning, we are all so excited to listen to this morning. So we have a special guest here today to talk about the important day. Also takes place in early November. Please give our principal, Mr. Griffin, your attention.
Good morning, kids. I'm discussing news. Because your classes start Veterans Day, you have been chosen to the Veterans Day Assembly. It's an honor that I give one class each year in its 4 terms. Remember, it's a 4 day in our community, and community members will come to visit. Do your all best to make us proud. Have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Gregson. You can count on us to make this important event as special as possible. We will get right to work with planning as we only have 2 weeks to get everything ready. Yes, Kevin, you have much about this Mr. Gregson was talking about. We see Veterans Day with the Veterans Holiday on Memorial Day that is celebrated every May. Well, there seems to be a little confusion about Veterans Day is that I think for us to be able to have a successful and meaningful assembly, we will need to take some time to answer the first question. Let's plan on doing some research and show the class we will find out. This is how we would be divided as the team in order to basically daughter on Veterans Day or Veterans Day. She gives them a week to gather their information and report back to the class.
Mrs. Holmes' class has been busy learning all about Veterans Day. The teams are eager to begin presenting their work. Some groups have presentations, while other groups have brought in visitors. Everyone is excited to begin.
Class, we are ready to get started. I think we'll have a first to present them. They will be switching the history of the reform project. Our team is still in the Veterans Day. It used to be called Armistice Day. On Armistice is the beginning to see how much the present is fighting on World War I began. This is tradition and remember what it is. It was the first anniversary of the end of World War I. We set aside a special time on the 11th hour or 11th day and the 11th month to remember those who fought in the war. And we will celebrate Veterans Day on November tradition changed the name from Armistice Day to Veterans Day. They thought it was important to have a special day that would honor all veterans and not just those who served during the First World War.
Very well done. Very well done, James. You look like discovered a lot more background information. I think we are ready to explore our next topic about who's actually honored on Veterans Day. That research was done by Veterans Day. You guys have other my attention.
Thank you, Ms. Connor. Would each of you take the time to discuss the type of person who defines a veteran?
If you guys are answering first, you can go ahead.
I will start. I discovered that veterans are the any man or woman who has served our country in any of the main military branches, including the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines, and the Coast Guard. My dad also considered a veteran. He served in the National Guard. When I was in the National Guard, every year we were also considered veterans of our country. We also learned that we're Memorial Day on men and women who have lost their lives during military service. Veterans Day recognizes all people, both living and dead, who have served. That's a big difference.
Yes, that is a big difference between the two national holidays. Is there any questions from our group? Anyone wants to complete who's actually honored on Veterans Day?
We discovered that any person who has volunteered is paid to serve our country, regardless of wartime or time of peace, is worthy of our thanks and gratitude, and is considered to be a veteran of service.
Wonderful job, and we just have enough time for our last one. And I really just last one has a special surprise. Lisa, would you like to introduce the special guest to us? Of course, Miss Holland. I'd like to introduce you to someone you all know, but Harry probably have never thought of him as a veteran. But when I went down to do some research on how veterans are honored, I discovered that our own Nigerian, Mr. Kingston, is a veteran. Please give him a round of applause.
I knew Mr. Keegan was a kind of teacher who seemed to know everyone in the school by name.
But when he walked into the room that afternoon wearing a bright blue uniform and hat, the kids were all struck. Could this really be the same person? But as soon as he smiled and started to talk to them, the kids were eager to learn all about this new special side of their librarian.
Good afternoon, boys and girls. At this time, I'm going to face the rules and rights what I'm going to do. This day, the dress uniform for the United States Air Force, which I'm pregnant for, I'm going to pass the news. I will go to the asking to come share some of my experiences with the three officers.
We are very honored that you are able to come join us. Nathan, does your group have anything here to ask them?
Although my father and my brother went to military, I always admired them for being so I feel that I want to do the same. Well, I attend training every month during December to learn things. I'm being good to basketball for our Air Force, which is every week we call it active duty. The access and sponsorship is active to the office and
That sounds like really great.
celebrating
So I am amazed. Great job, Elementary Drama Club. And they memorized most of their lines. That was pretty impressive. Can we give them another round of applause, please? So I have to give credit where credit is due, because even though I started planning this in August, obviously our kids and our teachers and our staff have worked very, very hard to make this day very special. I really hope you don't forget anybody. If you would please stand whenever I call your name, Miss Gabby Moore. She's probably back there. But Miss Moore has worked not only with elementary drama club, choir, band, everything. So she has really worked very hard. Mrs. Emma Ludwig, our art teacher, if you would please stand. She's over here waiting, and we can give her a round of applause. And if I can have our elementary students hold up your artwork that you made, hold it still. So I don't know if you caught that, but during their song, each of them held up their drawings for the Range of the Military with a song. And that was all thanks to Mrs. Ludwig. So she and her students worked very hard. Miss Gabby Moore, band, choir, speech drama, everything. No, okay. Miss Emily Spencer and Miss Snook did our elementary drama club. There's a lot there, but elementary, you may be seated and you may put your artwork down. Thank you so much. Miss Alicia Anderson with FCCLA, she may not be in here, but before I forget, Miss Kay will remind you, there are cookies on the sign-in table where you sign in for the veterans and their family. So FCCLA made you cookies today. Mrs. Jessica Dickinson, if you would please stand up, she helped tremendously with helping everyone. Ms. Rachel Samuel and FFA with sign-in table. Thank you so much. And Mr. DJ Shears, because I told DJ I needed something built, and he built it for me. So, thank you. At this time, the Lamont High School speech team will now perform. The lights will be turned out, so everybody needs to stay seated. Today, we're going to witness a story of youth, love, service, injury, sacrifice, and honor. The Lamont Viking speech team will now perform. We're getting ready to turn the lights off.